Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News. Our very first story, Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu has backed demands by the minority for comprehensive audit into all COVID-19 expenditure. Now, this follows a motion by the minority for the House to probe the expenditure that accrued as a result of the pandemic. Contributing to the budget debate, ranking on the Health Committee, Kwabena Minta Akando insisted that his side of the House will push through with the probe. He also accused the government of failing to make available funds for the construction of Agenda 111 in the 2022 budget, describing the policy document as lacking credibility.
Mr. Speaker, and let me serve notice that during the estimates at the committee level, we will insist on the details of the COVID expenditure. Mr. Speaker, again, the Mahama administration left and invested hugely in the infrastructure in the health sector. Without imposing e-transaction levy. Mr. Speaker, per Article 35(7) of the 1992 Constitution, governments are enjoined to continue to complete and operationalize any project that they inherit. Mr. Speaker, again, any document that worth the sort of a budget must give the progress so far on all these projects. Mr. Speaker, what is the status of Afari Military Hospital? It is missing in this budget.
Ask them.
Mr. Speaker, what is the status of Kumawu District Hospital? It is missing in this budget.
Ask them.
Mr. Speaker, what is the status of Abetifi District Hospital? It is missing in this budget. Mr. Speaker, what is the status of Famina District Hospital? Mr. Speaker, it's missing in this budget. Have you given them the money, the contractors the money to go back to site? Mr. Speaker, especially with that of Abetifi District Hospital, the sad story is that if we have to go back to the site to continue that project, Mr. Speaker, we will have to demolish not less than 70% of the structures on site.
Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu welcomed the probe and added that government would struggle to fund the construction of the health infrastructure, including Agenda 111, if it fails to raise the needed revenue.
How it happened. Almost all banks in this country were going broke by the end of 2016. If you had entered 2017 without change of government, Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid some of us will have signed checks without laying hands onto our deposits that were put into the banking system. Here, they wouldn't read what Setepe said, IMF told you. Financial sector reforms should have started as far back as 2013-2014, where most banks were not even meeting their capital adequacy ratio. Yet we couldn't do anything. Then we come in 2017, just like we managed HIPIC, to come and resolve financial sector, put reforms in there to clear the mess. At the end of the day, the cost to this country is part of the debt burden that we are now entertaining. The energy sector, IPP challenges, litigation, and some compensation to some people to just get them off, to make sure that we will kill them off, which we have actually done. That is part of our debt burden. Mr. Speaker, apart from these mess that we inherited, there are several others, and I'll continue. The new initiatives that we started, who has costed senior high school costs, school feeding costs? All these things have been borne by the government, by the states, without people paying for anything. Mr. Speaker, let me go to growth. We have soon forgotten about the impact of COVID on all of us, even including Parliament. For several months, we were in lockdown. We wouldn't come to the chamber. When 3 people come today, 4 people should come tomorrow. How could that have contributed to any magnificent growth in any economy? Not only here in Parliament, the banking system. Up to today, have gone to work 2 weeks, the following week they don't come again. Lock-up of Kumasi and Accra, the economic nerve centers of our country, against the other parts of the country. For nearly 2 months, 9 months, 10 months, how could that generate growth into our system? Yet, you were doing better growth than when NDC exited exited government.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has called for the de-escalation of all lingering tensions in the northern belt of the country through the use of social media. He warned that there is no room to tolerate such tensions as the focus for the area is development. This was contained in a speech read on his behalf by the Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali at the opening of the Northern Ghana Development at Jurapa in the Upper West region. Here is Rafiq Salam's report.
The two-day third annual Northern Development Summit 2021, which is underway at the Royal Coast Hills Hotel, otherwise known as Jurapa, Dubai, brought together participants from all walks of life, including the 5 regional ministers from the Northern Belt of the country, members of the diplomatic corps, development partners, traditional, religious and opinion leaders, and team of experts to deliberate on issues that affect the forward march of the enclave. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in a speech read on his behalf to open the summit by the Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, called for the cessations of all lingering tensions to pave the way for the rapid development of the North.
I call for the de-escalation of all lingering tensions in northern Ghana. All engaged in utterances on social media that seek to escalate tension must cease immediately. We have no room to tolerate such tensions with our focus on development. Our regional peace councils should take up these issues and together with the security councils in our regions and our traditional leaders nip all tensions in their bud.
Over 70% of the people in the northern Gulf of the country are into farming. In that regard, Dr. Ibn Chambers urged the people to take a serious look at the way agriculture is handled in the northern belt of the country.
What is it that we can do to modernize agriculture, make it attractive to young people? Because if we continue with archaic practices and the rather tedious farming methods, relying exclusively on rainfall, rain-fed agriculture, it is difficult to make that attractive to young people. There are ways that, and they obviously are. We have so many experts in agriculture. We have many partners who want to work with us. How can we really modernize agriculture and bring on board the teeming youth that are graduating from schools, and many of whom could be diverted to agriculture for productive purposes.
Now, the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital is attributing the surging cases of antimicrobial resistance development and spread to the use of antibiotics in pig and poultry farms. Head of the Medical Directorate at CATH, Professor Kofi Opoku-Bafo, says the poor disposal of waste from the farms contributes to pollution, resulting in antimicrobial resistance. The hospital has established stewardship committees and directorates to ensure the rational use of antibiotics by clinicians and patients. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has more for us in the following report.
Antimicrobial resistance occurs when bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites change over time and no longer respond to medicines, making infections harder to treat and increasing the risk of disease spread. The Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital has been fingered as a major contributor to emerging antimicrobial resistance in residents of neighboring communities. A research conducted by scientists at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology revealed the Subin River was contaminated with waste from the hospital. Management of the hospital has, however, refuted the allegation. Medical Director Professor Kofi Opoku-Bafo says the hospital may not be the only source of traces of antibiotics found in sewage systems and water bodies in its adjoining vicinities.
I recall sometime, I think last year or the previous, when there was a publication in the media about Komfo Anokye polluting certain waters and water bodies in Kumasi with antibiotics. And everybody pointed a finger at Komfo Anokye. They have forgotten that poultry farmers use antibiotics. Their disposal, nobody knows how they dispose of them. herbal practitioners use antibiotics as part of their concoctions, their disposal after their preparation. Nobody knows how it is made. All these contribute to the pollution and antibiotic resistance. Misdiagnosis and inadequate protection during antibiotic handling in the farms increase the risk of antibiotic resistance development and spread. And the factors affecting antibiotic resistance development and spread are rife in pig farms in the Ashanti region.
Antimicrobial resistance has over the few decades been a major health crisis facing human health in low and middle income countries. Reports suggest an estimated 4 million people in Africa die annually as a result of antimicrobial resistance. Scientists forecast an exponential increase in the number to 10 million by 2050 if appropriate measures are not taken to circumvent drug misuse. Professor Kofi Opoku-Bafo at the workshop disclosed the management saw the need to establish stewardship committees and directorates to oversee strategies in reducing antimicrobial resistance in the country. The initiative is in line with the national agenda of alleviating antimicrobial resistance. Antimicrobial stewardship is a coordinated program that seeks to promote the appropriate use of antimicrobials, including antibiotics, improve patient outcomes, to reduce microbial resistance, and to also decrease the spread of infections caused by multi-drug resistant organisms. Members of the committees at the hospital are equipped with skills essential for supervising both clinical and non-clinical staff to properly use and manage antibiotics at the hospital. From Kumasi for Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
Now, Ghana, like many other African economies, has seen a drastic increase in its energy demand over the last decade. The increasing demand of energy has necessitated the need for renewable and sustainable sources of energy. Fortunately, 2 students at the Department of Physics of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have designed a technology to improve battery efficiency for renewable and sustainable energy production. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has more in the following report.
The students, Michael Kwanzaa and Lawrence Ba, say the increasing demand for devices of high-performing and durable batteries influenced their research to develop a computerized tool for producing new batteries.
Of late, we can see there's a high demand for devices that need batteries. And now, also, people don't just need batteries. They want batteries that are high-performing and also last longer. So in this research, what we are doing is to give manufacturers a tool that can help them create batteries which are more optimal than the ones already in the markets. But as we're actually looking at how pressure affects various properties or various materials used in creating the electrode, would then later on affect the performance of the battery. So in our research, we looked at the active materials which are in the battery. We also looked at certain binding properties in the battery. We also looked at the porosity within the battery. That's the spaces that are left within the battery. Definitely all the properties are grains and things. So when things come together, definitely there are spaces in between it.
They explain the machine learning model predicts the resultant properties of lithium-ion battery after being fed with data needed for its production. The digitalized tool employs a process known as calandering, which seeks to improve the efficiency of the batteries.
What were your results?
Okay, so when we're done with our models, we saw that our accuracies, the model's predictive accuracies, were around the ranges of 70 to 75. But some of the property, for one of the properties, the model didn't really have a good accuracy. It was 51. So that was our results. And we believe for the rest, the 70 to 75 is good enough for an experimentalist to be able to base their batteries on that data.
Lawrence explained the accurate predictive property of their digitalized model could facilitate battery manufacturers in producing batteries at faster and convenient pace.
We created a machine learning model that accepts some inputs and gives us some outputs. The inputs are the things that goes into the production of the battery. So when the manufacturer comes, there are things that goes into the production of the battery. So you feed it into the model. And the model will give you the kind of properties that you might expect after the production of the battery. And these properties are known to affect the overall performance of the battery.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Now let's tell you about the new slang which is spreading through high schools in Kumasi in what is fast becoming an alternative to the pidgin language. Codenamed Keshe or Saka, the language mixes sounds from different popular dialects including Twi, English, French and others. Manuel Kranting has been observing how supporters of schools in the ongoing NSMQ speak the language.
Yes, a pair you show almost say, Yamokani, I may be you.
That is Saka, or Keshe, as it is sometimes called. A slang which was developed by young people right here on the streets of Kumasi to rival the popular pidgin language imported into Ghana from Nigeria.
Oh, it's from Kumasi. During the America thing, now you know that the Accra people they speak pidgin. So Kumasi want to create our own language. That's the Keshe thing. Because Kumasi, as for Kumasi, everyone can speak Twi. But now we have created our own language known as the Keshe. So people, and now the children, the parents, grandparents, like the elderly people are also speaking the language. When you go to some town like Kofum, Bremen, Ashtown, yeah, they used to speak the language, which made the language sweet.
Unlike other languages, Keshe has no exclusive alphabets or definitive sounds.
It's like when you have a word, you just take the first pronunciation of the word, then you send it to the back, and you take the back one and bring it to the forward one. So you just change it and have to speak it fast. Yeah, and when you are saying you have to change it in your mind fast. Yeah, that's how we speak the language.
So how do I say Prempeh College is going to win this contest? Okay, break it down. Break it down for me now.
Prempeh College.
Okay, no, so I get the Prempeh Prem Jellico. And then what? Yekusu, what does that mean?
School.
Codenamed Saka, the reverse of the Akan word Kasa, which translates as to speak. The language is the stock in trade of a new wave of young musicians in Kumasi, including Shan Black, Zamani, Papa Kumasi, and the popular Asaka Boys, whose Kumelican music took the country by storm in 2020.
From when you play this one, you trum Zamani Umune was so tium. Mesaka Mui having Bobio Colomesife, Dabroya Deba, Amadia, you do no laga, Dabroya Deba, Keshenia Kitawati Street, Dabroya Deba.
Starting only as a street code, the Keshe language is now a symbol of pride that many people in Kumasi yearn to be associated with, especially high school students.
The language that is Keshe, I feel attracted to Keshe. I have the passion to learn it, but I feel difficult to learn it. And sometimes when I see my friends speaking that particular language, I feel happy, but I feel left out.
I would like to learn it because if I see someone speaking it, like it's nice and what the way they implement, the way what they speak it is very good.
Prayer is that God will help us and give the children and the elderly people the knowledge to speak the language, because the language now is becoming the whole thing in Kumasi. Not only in Kumasi, but some of the Accra people also speak the language. Now the pidgin too, Kumasi people speak the pidgin, and now Accra people are also learning how to speak the Keshe thing.
For now, the language is spreading in Kumasi like wildfire.
Maybe you should learn it, because I have.
To report for A Joyce in you, Norma Tinkra.
Whoa. Gelon, Colomesife, Dabroya Deba, Amadia, you do no laga.
Wait. And that's it for the AM News. The AM show continues right after this with the newspaper review. Don't go anywhere.